Hiya, welcome to LSB Feasters Radio Channel, where our mission in life is keeping great radio from the past alive. And today we're going to New York City and Imus in the morning. Imus was a radio legend in New York, probably considered the first shock jock, getting to WNBC radio in New York in 1971, left for Cleveland for a couple years in the late 70s when he was brought back to WNBC. He was at WNBC right up to the end and actually hung around when the station flipped to Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Imus was their morning man, and he stayed there for many, many years until 2007 when he got into a little bit of an issue, lost his job, and then a few months later landed the morning show at 77 WABC, and Imus stayed there right up until he decided to retire in 2019. Now, there was a time there back in the 1990s when C-SPAN would bring its cameras and leave Washington and walk away from covering Congress. They would go to WFAN and broadcast Imus's show. I guess they got a lot of positive response because they wound up doing it several times. And I had a chance to record some of these shows when they were on C-SPAN. And in this, you get to see Imus doing the show, behind the scenes. And it's a fascinating watch because you get to see how quick Imus thought. The interaction between him and Charles McCord, and if you stepped on his wrong side during the show, you'd get to see the wrath of Imus live on TV. It was a fascinating watch. So let's go back to the 1990s with C-SPAN and Imus in the morning on 66 Sports Radio WFAN.
Hi, I'm Imus in the morning. This is WFAN in New York. It's time for the news, and here with all that is my friend Charles McCord. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, I-Man. 23 degrees right now. The Imus weather for New York, partly cloudy, 38 today. Tonight, chance of snow, the low 20. And tomorrow, a chance of snow in the morning, then becoming windy, and the high just 32.
And now live to Santa Fe, New Mexico, my brother Fred Imus. Good morning, Fred.
Good morning.
Did you, by the way, the headband, Bob, you should give Bob a raise.
I can't see myself on TV.
Well, fine, Fred.
Lucky you.
Well, there you are.
Well, there I am.
What is that you have on your head? It's not hair, is it?
Yeah, been taking them vitamins.
Extension.
You know, I feel just like the president on TV. Now all I got to do is drop my pants down, but not my knees.
No, I mean,
Time out.
Time out. God. Anyway, you should give Bob a raise, Fred.
Why should I give Bob a raise?
Because the headband got here.
Well,
He sent it here.
Oh, he sent it to the station?
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, never mind. You can stay.
Take your hat off, Fred. Let's see you.
Wow.
Ain't no way.
Put it back.
We'll never mistake the Imus brothers for the Baldwin brothers. That's for sure.
It's a minute after you're looking at a live picture of my brother in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Well, who has obviously straightened his office up.
You know that bear on the halftime show?
Yeah.
They had the mouth taped shut and high on drugs?
Right?
That's you in the 70s, man. You know what they had to do to you?
No, they didn't have to do anything to me in his 70s.
They had to tape you up, and you took every kind of drug there was, didn't you?
Well, why do we have to go through that this morning?
I'm sorry, I apologize. You know, seeing the Fred on the back of Charles's T-shirt
Yeah.
is actually
God.
Fred.
Charles has gained a little weight.
That's
I don't mind.
ridiculous.
It's 2 minutes after the
Hear
hour.
these smoke? See these cigarettes?
Yes.
We'd get every one of them little Chinese fellas to smoke about 3 packs a day.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have a trade deficit.
It's 2 minutes after
I'll
the
tell you what makes me want to throw up.
What, Fred?
Hearing Dole talk about how the small business is the backbone of this country.
Yeah.
Why are they screwing us every time they turn around?
Well, how are you being screwed?
Because you can't make any money. If you make any money, you have to pay it in taxes. If I wanted to expand here, I couldn't expand. I couldn't hire anybody. Couldn't do nothing.
Shut up and
I'm sick of them.
just stop whining.
I'm taking my pants off. I want to be like the president.
You're not going to take your pants off.
Yes, I am.
Put them over your
And
head.
there's no delay or anything.
Not Fred.
come on.
No. God Almighty. All right.
Come here, Fred. Want to see Uncle Don? Come on. Here's some jerky.
Oh, there's four-legged Fred.
I'm going to cut this with my OJ knife.
Jesus God, it's 3 minutes past the
That's
hour.
OJ Sharp, man.
It's 3 minutes past the hour here in New York.
This is Mary Beth Carey, Dean of Admissions at Hofstra University. If you're interested in full or part-time studies at a nationally recognized...
Whose idea was this?
Whose idea was this?
Spring semester starts January 30th, so there's still time to register.
Oh, well.
Hofstra offers 8 majors,
Fred.
and since classes are small, you get
What's that on his head?
from professors
That's his buffalo hat.
with degrees in their
Is that a
field.
horn sticking
Always a lot
out?
going on at Hofstra.
Oh, my God.
Dick Armey's brother, a guy named Charlie, works for Parcells with the Patriots. He's the director of college scouting. The guy just called me and told me that.
He's what?
He's the director of college scouting with the Patriots.
What's his name?
Charlie.
Of college scouting?
Yeah.
Charlie Armey?
Some guy just called. Guy from the Giants who knows him.
Huh?
Guy from the Giants who knows him called.
Well, how do we know that that's...
Well, the guy.
Well, what difference does it make?
Right.
Yeah,
it's not
really. What do you care?
Yeah.
Come on.
Fred.
No, please put your pants on, Fred.
Is Fred still on the phone?
Yeah, he's still holding you.
Well, he's got... Now, you know that Rush Limbaugh, The Lady is a Tramp? I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to play that out of Russert. I mean, I don't know how... We'll just see how far we get with Russert. I don't... But that's what I plan to close with him.
Is he at 10?
Yeah. We should take... We'll take Roger Clinton.
Okay.
I may be dead, but I'm still tuned in. And now more of the Imus in the Morning program.
Imus in the Morning News Time, 5 minutes past the hour, and we got bogged down with Fred in Santa Fe. Fred's still there? Fred,
Yes.
Fred, can you behave yourself this morning?
What do you mean bogged down, chump face?
Well, I just mean, can you behave yourself?
I'm going to do something dirty.
No, you're not going to do anything dirty.
Looks like we went live to Chechnya. Good Lord. Oh, my God. Have a sandwich.
What is that hat all about, Fred?
Well, a guy come in here selling them about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I said, I got to have one of these hats.
Let me ask you something.
See the little horns there?
Yeah.
And actually, it's lined with spotted owl down.
How come we're all sitting here wearing Fred Imus t-shirts?
Fred, quit it.
Fred?
Yeah?
Well, how come you don't wear your own clothes?
Because it's too much trouble to fold them back up and send them out.
And they stink.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for the news, and here with that is my friend Charles McCarthy. Good morning, Chuck.
Good morning, I-Man.
Hang on, Fred, would you?
No.
Please, come on. President Clinton has ordered federal officials to find ways to stop attacks on the nation's abortion clinics. He's told U.S. attorneys to put together local task forces of law enforcement officials and has also ordered U.S. Marshals to consult with area abortion clinics about possible threats. A 22-year-old hairdresser in training is to be arraigned this morning, meantime, in Norfolk for allegedly spraying an abortion clinic with bullets. John Salvi is also accused of killing 2 receptionists at separate abortion clinics in Brookline, Massachusetts on Friday. The Boston Globe reports this morning Salvi was not a stranger to the anti-abortion movement. According to the Globe, he participated in a May anti-abortion demonstration right in front of one of the clinics where he then allegedly shot a receptionist to death. Pro-life organizations are being blamed in part for inciting their members to violence, and Bill Carter of Operation Rescue says the movement should not be held responsible. It's unfair.
I don't feel that I have anything to apologize for because I didn't do anything. I mean, this thing was a great tragedy. It's a horrible act, but we didn't do it. So why should we take responsibility for it?
Creep.
And a manhunt is underway this morning in South Florida for 5 killers who tunneled their way out of prison. John Townsend, superintendent of the Glades Correctional Institution in Belglade, says these men are extremely dangerous.
All are serving time for the crime of first-degree murder and other associated crimes. They are extremely dangerous and should not be dealt with by anyone other than law enforcement agencies or members of the Florida Department of Corrections.
The escapees, all from Cuba, were serving life sentences for first-degree murder.
How many diamond rings are you wearing?
Who's
4 diamond rings? Why? Well, I mean, but why is it necessary to wear 4 diamond rings? I'm just curious. You have 4 diamond rings, so you figure it's necessary to wear them?
Yeah.
No. I just wondered.
Just straighten that little item out.
Well, no, but I mean, I'm just kind of curious. I mean, you just so nobody can rob you. You just leave home, you wear everything you own. All right.
I don't know.
I'm just sort of curious.
All right.
Like my brother. My brother wears everything he owns.
That's it?
He gets up in the morning, puts it on, and so when he leaves home, nobody can... Is that Fred still there?
Yeah, he doesn't know he's up.
Tim Russert's coming up in 1 minute and 15 seconds. I guess reluctantly, right? Bernard, whining about being on?
Oh, he's just kidding around.
Well, we'll find out.
He loves the I-Man.
Washington Bureau Chief, NBC News, host of Meet the Press. A pretty big deal.
Major player.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly, yeah. So Bernie says to me, I got a message on my answering service. We have Alphonse D'Amato, Robert Dole, and Dick Armey on this morning, and Tim Russert and Bernard says, we don't have any. Should we get a Democrat? I said, well, how about Russert?
We're covered.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, who else would we need?
And by the way, why?
And why would we want any Democrats on? What would that be?
A loser party.
Remember November 8th?
We have one person in America still supporting the president, at least in the media. That'd be me, of course.
That's right.
Be like interviewing Boomer Esiason this morning.
What else going on?
Marion Barry going on, the
man.
once and current mayor of the nation's capital. Yesterday, as his swearing in, thanked constituents for giving him another chance and says he can't wait to get to work.
Mr. Barry, you ready to take the oath?
I am.
Mayor of the District of...
The Washington Post this morning described the inauguration as something like a cross between a basketball game and a revival meeting.
No, the Washington Post didn't say that.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't. They didn't describe it, but the inauguration of the mayor of Washington, D.C. as a basketball game.
Yes, they did. Poet Maya Angelou recited this poem by Sterling Brown to honor the new mayor and his political comeback.
Today they shout prohibition. Thou shalt not that. Thou shalt not that. Thou shalt not win. And you said, keep a coming along like a poor inchworm. Keep on moving. Keep on moving. One thing they cannot prohibit: the strong men coming on. Strong men getting stronger. Stronger, stronger.
She got a game face on for that one. She was doing her Edna St. Vincent Millay impression when she read her poem for Bill Clinton. Anyways, 10 minutes past the hour here in New York City, and I am Imus in the morning. Tim Russert is the host of Meet the Press. He's the Washington Bureau Chief of NBC News. He has his own talk show on not that Meet the Press isn't necessarily, but his own talk show on CNBC every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Good morning, Mr. Russert.
Good morning, Mr. Imus. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tell Fred thanks for the video.
What video?
Well, I bought an auto body shirt, and he sent me a video of the wedding.
Let me see if I understand this correctly.
He promised me if I bought a jacket, I'd get the honeymoon, but...
Well... you're complaining, Bernard tells me, about us taking advantage of you by putting you on the most influential morning radio program in America. Is that basically what we're talking about here?
Who said that?
Well, Bernard told me you thought we were taking advantage.
Cite the source, cite the reference. Come on, you're a journalist. Let me hear it. Who, what, when, where, why?
I couldn't answer one of those questions.
Of course not. Hey, you look just like Tom Osborne.
Yeah, I do look a little bit like him, don't I?
Well, from the neck up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Happy New Year. Thanks for the wreath that you sent me and my wife.
You're welcome. That was a wedding present.
Oh, it was?
Yes, indeed.
It's hanging on the wall in Santa Fe, New Mexico at Fred's house. Because I didn't have any place to put it, so I gave it to Fred, and he loves it.
Well, good.
So how was the Renaissance weekend?
I take great pride in having never gone to Renaissance, nor will I ever. I'm afraid that's not who I am.
Well,
how about, what I like, my favorite question to Bob Dole. Bob, who's in charge of the Republican Party? Me.
Well,
about 10 years ago, Newt Gingrich said that Bob Dole was the tax collector for the welfare state.
Yeah.
Newt paid the toll 48 hours ago, $4.5 million. Mr. Dole pulled out his howitzer and popped them. No book deal, Newt. Now we're even.
What, did you read William Safire, one of your frequent contributors?
Yes.
Did you agree with that?
On the book deal? Yeah, I think the royalties up front are a problem. I tell you, it's beyond money. The real problem that Congress Speaker Gingrich or anyone in that position confronts is when you come to office and you promise people change, anything you do that suggests in any way, shape, or form that you're just one of the boys is devastating. And that's why it was hurting him. He was bleeding. And he, to his credit, he stopped it quickly and moved on with life. But he's got to watch it because people really do expect a revolution as promised.
Well, of course, a lot of people, like I was surprised to discover that Jim Wright, with that hideous book of his, actually collected $55,000 in royalties, which is more royalties than anybody in the history of book publishing has ever collected on any book.
Well, Al Gore made a lot of money on his environmental book.
He did?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. But there are a lot of people in the Senate and the politics who've written books, but the upfront royalties are what concern people, and I think Safire, speaking from his own experience in the Nixon White House, laid down a pretty good guidelines.
Well, there's an article in this morning's Washington Post suggesting, as I've suggested it from my own experience, that if you don't get the money in front, you can pretty much count on not getting the money. I mean, you certainly, I don't care what he sells, he's not going to get $4.5 million, and as you just pointed out, he probably shouldn't. How long do these folks have before you jump all over them?
Well, yeah, I heard Senator Dole say 60 days, 90 days. It's pretty much up to them. I think people are looking beyond legislation, and while the contract with America and the Republican Senate plan are going to be benchmarks, I think they make a fatal mistake if they suggest that they have to keep a tick-tock every day and check off what they did or didn't do on the floor of each house. People want an overall sense that the country is moving in a different direction. And that's the difficulty, because the public is very smart when it comes down to, well, you've passed a constitutional amendment to balance the budget, but why did the deficit go up? It doesn't take long to figure that out. And my guess tells me that at the end of this year, if there is a tax cut bidding war, which is a very strong likelihood, we may have a higher deficit at the end of 95 than we went into it with. And that's going to create problems for both parties. I think that's the ultimate result of all this, by the way. It's not just, if the Democrats lose, so do the Republicans. The Democrats are not going to regain power simply by dumping on Newt Gingrich or criticizing Jesse Helms. If people do not see progress or action in their own minds, they'll look for an alternative, which will be a third party in 96.
But the way the news media works, as you obviously know, being smack dab in the middle of it, they really, I mean, realistically, they have until the nightly news with Tom Brokaw the night to get something done, don't they? I mean, won't there be a comment tonight? Newt Gingrich says this is going to be the longest day in the history, opening day in the history of the House, and won't there be a big announcement?
And what got done right now?
Yeah.
No, I think people will be a little bit more patient than that. I think the constitutional amendment to balance the budget will pass, and people will breathe a sigh of relief and say, my God, that's a good positive change. That would have never happened with the Democrats. Then comes the hard part. I mean, you can sell off House buildings, and you can eliminate all of foreign aid or half of foreign aid or eliminate half of welfare, and you've saved about $20 billion. There's a long, long road to get to a balanced budget, as promised. And the fight within the Republican Party, with Pete Domenici of New Mexico, where you got married, and Bob Packwood of Oregon as deficit hawks, saying, hey, supply side doesn't work. You can't cut taxes and expect revenues to go up. That is going to be something to watch. The other thing is term limits. You heard Senator Dole today. He prefaced his remarks with you, Iman, by saying, well, you know, a state like Kansas would be really adversely. Term limits are not going to make it.
Well, no, they're not.
And every member of the Republican leadership, your next guest, Congressman Armey, Congressman Gingrich, Senator Dole, Senator Lott, none of them would be there if term limits were in place right now. It's not going to make it. And somehow they're going to have to rationalize to the American people why they promised it. And you know what the answer will be? Well, we promised to vote. Okay.
Well, how long?
That's like I didn't inhale, right? I promised to vote.
How do the Republicans? I asked Senator Dole this, and I don't know that I forget what I asked Al D'Amato, but well, I call Senator D'Amato, by the way. How do the Republicans keep the president from co-opting these legislative initiatives of theirs and taking credit for them.
How? I mean, that's the power centers on Capitol Hill. They have the votes. What the president has is a veto. And the difficulty President Clinton has is if he tries to say, as you say, co-op, it would mean going halfway. And that becomes Me Too Republicanism. And that begins to backfire with the president in his own base. I think what the president has to do on a couple issues is just plant the flag and say, no, I'm not doing that. That is just wrong. We're not going to do that. I was kind of surprised, actually, he didn't do it on tax cuts, where if he said to people, listen, I can cut your taxes 12 cents a day, or I can keep the deficit down and keep interest rates down, and long term, and even short term, you're going to save some money. But instead, he decided to get into the tax-cutting business, and thinking that was popular. My gut tells me that amongst the American people that if you say to them straight out, listen, if we cut here, 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 and here, and don't raise taxes, don't cut taxes, we're going to make a long headway in reducing the deficit, and we're better off, they believe you.
Who will be the first cabinet official to crash?
In this year?
Yeah.
Probably Secretary of Housing, Urban Development.
Cisneros?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, he does have a...
That's a problem. Yeah, the other interesting thing is the elimination of cabinet positions. 12 years of President Reagan, 12 of President Bush, we never saw a position eliminated. No major program eliminated. It's going to be fascinating now to see suddenly how ineffective education, commerce, small business, all these programs were. The irony is going to be, of course, can the Republicans take on some of those constituencies? Senator D'Amato mentioned agriculture. I'm not sure he bounced that off Senator Dole, but we'll find out.
Well, he sounded not quite as enthusiastic as we are about these whitewater hearings, which much to my dismay. But
there was traces of lithium this morning. I'll tell you.
God, what's that all about?
I think that the mantle of responsibility is descending upon all these people. And I watched on C-SPAN last night several hours of profile on Newt Gingrich, where the advice he's getting from...
Man, you have no life.
None.
You have no life.
Hey, it's you, C-SPAN, and my new Christmas gift. Maureen gave me the new self-help book from Joycelyn Elders.
Shut up. I mean, if we've got Florida State and Florida playing football and you're watching C-SPAN...
Don't you have split screen?
Yeah, I do have.
Of course not. Yeah, okay.
Of course I have a picture-in-picture deal.
Sorry?
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You were watching C-SPAN
and Newt Gingrich's... It was fascinating. His former college buddies, professors, debate coaches, they're all saying the one problem he has is popping off, and he knows it. And he understands that unless he's going to diminish his ability to govern, he's going to have to keep that in line. The difficulty is that one of the reasons that he was the leader of the revolution is because he was brash and popped off. So watching Gingrich try to walk that line about being bold and brash and being statesmanlike, and watching Clinton walk the line of being, I got the message, American people, but not becoming a Republican convert, are the two interesting games in town.
The most startling event so far in 1995 was Sunday's Washington Post piece by Martha Sherrill, in which she suggested that vulgarity, as represented on this program and others, is both original and creative, and an element of the hip media that is attractive and reflects the id in all of us. Did you read that?
Yeah, she's never been the same since she spent time with you.
This is the same woman who, when she profiled me for Esquire, was so outraged at Rush Limbaugh's version of The Lady is a Tramp on this program that she went behind my back and tried to get a copy of the lyrics, and then when she eventually did, she faxed them over to the First Lady's office to try to get some kind of response from them. Do you think she actually wrote this, or did Tony Kornheiser write it for her?
Well, yeah, as I told you, I think your book's filthy, and I think some of your parodies are filthy, so I disagree with her. And you also broke up Martha Sherrill's relationship, you know.
Oh, I did.
Oh, yes. That's history.
Well, that wasn't going anywhere anyway.
Well, I think that's the reason.
But everything else is all right with you?
We're in great shape. This is extraordinary. I'm telling you, this is fun down here. But it's interesting as hell, and these changes are probably healthy and good, and it's going to be something to watch. And the American people, really ought to strap themselves in, because the next 100 days are really going to be historic.
Well, we'll watch your comments on Sunday, and we'll even watch you Monday night.
All right. right.
Thanks very much.
See you. Good to see you.
Tim Russert, the Washington Bureau Chief of NBC News and the host of Meet the Press at 22 after the hour. Rush Limbaugh here on the Imus in the Morning program. It's 25 past. What's my?
You proud of yourself now? Does that make you happy? Does it make you feel good to start the new year that way in your relationship with the White House?
Well, that had nothing to do with me.
You know, it's a very good point. It was Rush.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely. What's the matter with him?
Well, do we have Martha Cheryl's home phone number?
Negative.
Everybody else does. Why don't we have it?
I think she's staying with Martina these days.
No, we don't need that. We must have her number somewhere.
Yeah.
And we do.
The men's room, that's where.
What? No, that's not necessary.
It's in the Rolodex.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that Martha Cheryl's relationship with this guy, but this guy was a loser anyway.
Sure. You just helped her, that's all.
So she can do much better than that.
Clearly. So. And besides, now she has to.
Yeah, now she doesn't have any choice. Is Fred still in Santa Fe?
Yes.
Good morning, Fred. How are you?
What's going on?
Well, not too much. So.
You know, I don't understand these Republicans that claiming Clinton doesn't stand for anything. Can you name one thing George Bush stood for?
Charles?
I-man?
Well, he stood for what Ronald? He stood for
Well, and I can't even remember anything Ronald Reagan stood for. Of course, either can he now.
You know, Fred. You know, Jesus, God, what's happened to you this morning? My brother's changed hats live from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
That really helps. Just keep them on.
So anyway, Fred, you have a new sponsor for the Auto Body Express's Twin Labs, the vitamin people.
Wow.
So
we'll start taking them.
If you'd like to call and order one of these T-shirts like I'm wearing here, or this is a turquoise buffalo deal, right, Fred?
Looks like a white buffalo
white
to
buffalo,
me.
Whatever it is, yeah. You can call my brother.
You're hitting that sauce again, are you?
No, I'm not. The Auto Body Express, sponsored by Twin Lab, makers of fine vitamins, minerals, and nutritional supplements. Twin Lab, the word for good health. These are the vitamins I've taken for years.
Yeah.
And we finally got them to pay for the plugs. Yeah. Twin Lab, makers of fine vitamins, minerals, and all that kind of stuff.
Take some, Fred.
Fred, you know, maybe you might want to take some of these.
I don't need any.
Anyway, my brother's...
You know, I was watching earlier this morning. I saw Jane Metzler on there.
Yes.
Wonder if she's coming back to Albuquerque.
Jane, come get Jane in here.
Yeah.
When she wants to come out the house and see my record collection.
Well, now here's the C. Oh, look at the outside of the C-SPAN bus. See, Charles?
Hey, how cool is this?
Is that your motorcycle out there, Fred?
The other one you didn't get to ride?
My brother has a brand new Harley, and
you didn't get to ride it, did you?
No, I didn't. So Jane's here.
You know why you didn't get to ride it? Because you're a geek.
My brother had some sort of positive things to say about you, Jane.
He did.
Hey, Jane.
Hey, Fred.
Want to come out and see my record collection out the house?
Fred, you don't have a record collection.
Does she want to come out and meet Mr. Willie?
Yeah, no, that's not necessary.
Fred, you said you only liked women who were fat and lived in trailers.
No, that's what I was married to.
It's 28
In fact, I was married 10 years and 29 days.
Well, fine,
to the wife from hell.
It's 28 after the hour here, Neil.
Bad to the bone. Imus in the morning.
What are you saving for?
Well, try to mollify him, will you?
A bigger home. Sure. Retirement.
Rob.
Would like to retire early.
Dick Armey.
Is your money growing
is he
fast enough to help you get there?
What's he do? 8:30? Oh,
Maybe
my
it's
God.
time to talk about investment services.
He's a loser.
Licensed investment specialist will listen
He hasn't proved himself yet, has he?
help you select from a wide range of investments, like mutual funds, tax-advantaged investments, and IRAs. Stop by or call 1-800-CHASE to arrange a free consultation. Now, one of the best ways to reach your goals is to reach Chase. Chase Manhattan. Profit from experience.
Investment specialists are employees of G&A Securities Incorporated, a registered broker-dealer unaffiliated with Chase. Member SIPC. Investments are not FDIC insured and are not guaranteed by or obligations of Chase.
This is a special traffic report from MTA Bridges and Tunnels. Beginning Monday, January 9th, the Throgs Neck Bridge entrance and exit ramps to and from the Cross Island Parkway will be closed for structural repair. This work is being done to smooth their street power in the future. Replaced with those directions. These ramps are expected to reopen by late 1995. While this work is going on, please use the Clearview Expressway to and from the Throgs Neck Bridge. You can get to the Clearview
Yes. Mr. Sapola. I understand, sir. How are you, dude? All right, what's going on?
Well, that's because I'm talking to you. That is a Fred Imus Autobody Express celebration.
That is okay, happy New Year to you, mate. Bye-bye. How are you, sir? How are you? Did I clear the accident? Find out something. Okay. Yeah, but... Okay, I'll pass that along. Okay. I'll see you in a bit. Mike, your wife,
Which one was this? This one.
This is the Connex.
To get in or have to work? 17 departures. You know probably worked, but that's not a 300 hour. You want to go straight to the smartest shuttle.
Imagine if someone like America stealing your home, your land, your whole way of life. It happened to the first Americans. See how the West was lost on the Discovery Channel and experience the story of Native Americans through their eyes. How the West was lost with special world premiere episodes tonight at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on the Discovery Channel. Explore your world.
Wow, they goofed. Kmart goofed. I only paid $3 for one of our holiday pictures and they gave me 2 cents. They gave you 2 cents? They gave me 2 cents. We gave them 2 cents and we'll give you 2 cents. From now to January 7th, bring any size you want.
Rating, yeah. 3x5-inch Apple print for just $3. A picture of the twins opening their presents.
Oh, look, a picture of the twins opening their presents. Hey, are you imitating me? Hey, are you imitating me? Stop it. Stop it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Good. All right, here's Loy McNichol now with the 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol. Good morning, Loy.
Good morning, I'm Ann. This report is brought to you by Apple Computer. Multimedia CD-ROMs for Macintosh are the hottest things this holiday. Check them out today at a store near you. Macintosh Multimedia you can use. Well, if you're traveling in Passaic County westbound 46, watch for ongoing problems with an icing condition on the ramps to Notch Road on the eastbound LIE. Use extra caution between the Fairgrounds and College Point Boulevard. That's due to another hazardous icing conditions. The right lane is subject to closure there. Eastbound Cross Bronx still jamming from the George Washington Bridge to Jerome Avenue. That's due to an earlier accident. Southbound Bruckner packed solid from the Hunts Point Drawbridge to the 130s. That's due to heavy volume. Also in Bergen County, southbound 95 express lanes are sluggish at the 80 split. That's due to an accident. The locals are better. Holland and Lincoln tunnels inbound have a 20-minute wait, 45 minutes inbound at the George Washington Bridge, and you're slow in the Cross Bronx due to that earlier accident.
God, is this ever going to end?
All three look good. I'm Lori McNichol for the 9X Mobile Fan Highway Patrol.
I am Imus Saboni. It's 33 minutes past the hour. We're 3 minutes late for Congressman Dick Armey because why? Because I thought he was on at 8:40 instead of 8:30 Eastern Time. Okay. And I want him, as soon as we talk to him, I'm going to apologize. Congressman Armey is a Republican congressman from Texas. He represents the 26th district, and he is a new majority whip and will be officially tomorrow when the 104th Congress kicks off. Good morning, Congressman Armey.
Good morning, Imus. How are you this morning?
I'm fine. How are you?
But just fine. Let me congratulate you on your recent marriage to beautiful Nadra.
Thank you very much.
I thought that was a stroke of genius, getting married in December. You know, you maximize your tax advantage and minimize your harangue for the year.
Got married in Utah, so.
Yeah, I did. I was talking to Strom Thurmond about that. I said, how does an old guy like that get a young, beautiful wife? Strom says, well, in Imus's case, the trick is to lie about how much money he has and tell the truth about his age. I thought you were down in Taos trying to buy a sod home from Dennis Weaver. I didn't know for sure what you were doing out there.
Well, we were. We actually, my brother's in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So, where in Texas, Mr. Armey, is the 26th district?
Well, we're right there in the heart of Texas, with the home of our, world champion, world famous Dallas Cowboys. Actually, I represent the Dallas Cowboys.
You do?
Yeah. I had promised the voters of America 3 pieces of good news in January. I said we were going to have a Republican House and a Republican Senate, and our beloved Cowboys back in the Super Bowl. So we're 2/3 of the way there now.
Who do they play this weekend?
Let's see, Green Bay Packers.
Oh, so that'll be pretty easy for him, shouldn't it?
Well, I would say, Packers shut down that hotshot running back at Detroit, held them to -1 yard. That was a pretty impressive performance on their part.
Barry Switzer made a big difference there, you think, or just kind of go along with the program? Or?
Well, I don't know. Barry's kind of a colorful guy, He sits there with the reserve quarterback and tries to figure out what's the name of the lineman. Well, I'll tell you one thing, he's brought a breath of fresh air to pro football. They tend sometimes, I think, to take the game a little seriously.
What is the majority whip? What does that mean? What does that term mean?
Well, of course, the majority whip is Congressman Tom DeLay. I'm the majority leader. Of course, it means I'm a leader. I run the show around here.
So I didn't even have what you are, right? Did I?
No. Well, you've been neglecting me. Since I think it was in October, you referred to me once as a jerk, which really hurt my feelings. I was stuck in Washington traffic, and I thought I was suffering enough pain without you picking on me.
I can't. Have I ever referred to Congressman Armey as a?
I'm shocked.
Well, no. Wait a minute now. I don't be pulling that stuff that you did on that poor fella from Nebraska now, changing your story. I listen to you every morning. My wife says, "Why do you listen to Imus in the morning?" I said, "Listen, being stuck in traffic in Washington D.C., you'll just about settle for anything."
So what? Well, so what does the majority leader do?
Well, basically, I try to coordinate with all our committees. We've got, of course, new committee chairmen. And every committee wants to get their agenda to the floor. So it's my job to try to manage the floor schedule. Also, you do a little troubleshooting on the floor. The minority can get mischievous every now and then, so the majority leader needs to be prepared to go to the floor almost at a moment's notice and, help move things along.
So when Newt is not there, then do you take over for him? Is that the way that works, or?
No, actually, we work in a complementary fashion. Majority leader doesn't often sit in the speaker's chair. Mm-hmm. Most of my work has to be done on the floor, and Newt and I will work together on what George Bush used to call that vision thing.
Yeah.
And then once we set an agenda, then I'll work with the committees and the committee chairman and the floor staff to manage the actual movement of the legislation.
Mr. Gemry said tomorrow's going to be the longest opening day in the history of the House and is going to begin with the reading of this contract with America, which was for a while there a contract with HarperCollins, it looked like. But
you're a bad man,
Who actually reads that?
Who actually you can read it, if you go to your local bookstore, you can buy a copy.
No, I mean who stands up in the House and reads it tomorrow?
Well, I imagine Newt will be the first Republican to actually seat in the chair, mm-hmm. and I imagine he will read it. Maybe, the new speaker is sworn in and then has a moment to give a bit of a speech. He may do it at that time.
What are the...
we won't. Actually, we'll just simply read the summary points to remind the American people of the 10 things we committed to doing in 100 days.
Of course, it'll also help to remind you folks, too, won't it?
Well, we don't need much of a reminder. We're working on it every day, since way back in July. So we know exactly what it is that we agreed to do, and we're ready to get started on doing it.
Which are the issues that you think that not only those contained in this contract with America, but balanced budget amendment, term limits, what are they?
Well, certainly the balanced budget amendment's important. It sets an overall umbrella of restraint on government and basically says you're going to have to come to terms with the size of government and go to work on cutting spending. The line item veto, of course, is something that we wanted the president to have ever since the 1974 Budget Act basically dealt the president out of the process. We think that created an imbalance of power that's contributed to our current budgetary problems. Certainly, we need to deal with the tort laws. They've been out of control since long before I ever came to Congress. In fact, one of the reasons I chose to run for Congress was my desire to do something about the tort laws. And I've been here 10 years, and we haven't had a single hearing on tort law reform in the 10 years. Welfare reform, of course, something people are pretty demanding about. So there's plenty of work in the contract. Actually, we by the time we complete that contract, we will have done more reform legislation in 100 days than what I've seen around here in 10 years.
There's been some grumbling about these these congressional pensions. Is that something you folks are going to look at?
Well, it's something that may be looked at down the road, but it's first 100 days, clearly we've got to keep our focus on the contract.
How important is it to you that the White House be on board for all of this?
Well, this is the old adage in politics is the president proposes and Congress disposes. The fact of the matter is we have the majority in the House, and we will move the legislation that we've committed to move. That won't be, quite frankly, any different than what I saw for 2 presidential terms when we had Republican presidents and Democrat majority in Congress. I remember President Bush and President Reagan used to send their budget up, and other than ridiculing it, feigning moral outrage over it, the Democrats didn't really do anything with the president's initiative. So we're going to take our initiative, and the president's recent speeches indicate that he's pretty much decided that he accepts the principles of the contract, and we feel like by the time we move legislation to his desk, he's going to be more than ready to sign it. So we think we'll work well with the president.
He may want to take credit for a lot of it, won't he?
Well, yeah, that's the oldest game in politics. If an idea is good enough to win the hearts of the American people, it's got 1,000 fathers. If of course, it's a bad idea, it's an orphan.
But you really have just this year, 95, don't you? Because, in 96, we're back to the same old stuff, aren't we?
Well, yeah, it's been my experience. I'm not a politician by trade, but having watched politics now very closely for 10 years of my life, it seems to me that in politics in America today, you've got a very short period of time to either become a pleasant surprise or a bitter disappointment with the American people. And wherever you get to, which you will get to very quickly, tends to stand for quite some time. The Democrats have spent the last, 15 years hammering on Ronald Reagan, and quite frankly, they've never been able to tarnish his image with his standing with the American people because he was a pleasant surprise early in his presidency. On the other hand, President Clinton, like President Bush, managed to create the perception of himself as a bitter disappointment in the first 2 years of their presidency. In both cases, so clearly we know the evidence is in that President Bush was unable to come back, and it's my view that President Clinton won't be able to come back either from that early impression.
Is Robert Dornan still going to be making those speeches to that empty House chamber?
Well, we'll still have special orders, and of course, Bob Dorman has done a pretty good job. In the old days, Henry B. Gonzalez was the champion of the special order speeches, and I have to say, Congressman Gonzalez's speeches were just every bit as colorful as Bob Dornan's. It seems to me we went almost daily with Congressman Gonzalez calling for the impeachment of one president or another. That all ended, of course, when they got Clinton in the White House.
One of the things that contributed, maybe in a small way probably, to this Republican majority for the first time in 40 years was the way Congressman Gonzalez conducted those House Banking Committee hearings. A lot of people were outraged by that.
Well, again, Gonzalez is very colorful. He would hold hearings, oversight hearings, and feign moral outrage at the drop of the hat when we had Republican presidents in office. And then all of a sudden you found him actually stonewalling the Whitewater hearings while they quietly and secretly gave him the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage's Award. They were so embarrassed about that they had to kind of delay the award, and then I think they must have done it in secret because I don't think the world really noticed that he got the Profile and Courage Award for all of his oversight hearings during Republican presidencies, while at the same time he was insisting there was no need to do such a thing with a Democrat president. So Chairman Gonzalez, or former Chairman Gonzalez, proved himself to be a man that has one of the most cherished attributes of American left, which is, of course, flexibility.
I like those suits he wears, though, those custom Western suits. He must... Somebody, it was like the old, not like the suits Porter Wagner wears.
Well, yeah, but the reason you like them is because your brother's selling them to him.
Has anybody ever told you, Congressman Armey, that you look like Barney Frank a little bit?
Yeah, Barney and I have a little problem. He had a couple rush up to him in the airport in Massachusetts and telling how much they all adored his good work, and he said the more he heard about all the good work he's getting credit for, the more he realized they had the wrong man. And he said, I think you must be talking about Congressman Armey. He thought they were saying Congressman Barney. And but Barney, and I asked Barney one day if he was a little embarrassed about that. He said, yeah, he was. He said he figured it was just about as embarrassing for him to be taken for me as it was for me to be taken for him, given that. You know, he's pretty much of a misguided liberal. In fact, I told him one day he was so misguided he thought I was misguided.
So I guess why pursue this? It's just not necessary. And
I've had enough of it.
We just don't need that. Well, good luck as majority leader tomorrow, Congressman Armey, and thank you very much for coming on.
Well, I figured if I could survive this 15 minutes, I can handle anything the Democrats can do.
Well, we were easy on you. Next time we may not be. But you were a good sport, and it was a pleasure having you on. And thank you very much.
Well, put a leash on those animals you got in there with you.
I will.
Okay, bye-bye.
Congressman Richard Armey, Republican congressman from Texas, representing the 26th district there, which must be around Irving, Texas.
I suppose.
Where the Dallas Cowboys are.
Yeah.
It's well, that could be. I mean, because sometimes if you just catch a quick glimpse of him on television, there have been times I thought it was Barney Frank, but I mean.
And fine, by the way.
You walk into a bar, and why go on with
like you said, why pursue it?
Yeah. My brother, Fred Imus, is in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where the C-SPAN bus is parked in front of the Auto Body Express. Look at Fred.
Oh, no. Are you going to have Congressman Armey on anymore?
Well, we might.
Okay, because I got this gun right in this drawer.
Yes.
I'm putting it in my mouth and pulling the trigger. Jesus, I mean, you're killing us.
Congressman Armey was fine, Fred. Just shut up.
He doesn't have any good lines.
Well, yes, he was pretty good. Is that?
He was awful. He's killing me, man.
What is Fred?
Jesus.
Fred, I have asked you when we have these guests on to not trash him. I mean, why is that necessary? He's a big fan of the program. This is his first time on. I thought he was fine.
Yes, he was. Come on.
He came prepared. He was informative. And
four-legged Fred, Mrs. Deidre. Don't you, baby? Come give Daddy a kiss.
Oh, this is sickening.
Well, here's the deal. I'll tell you why four-legged Fred, Mrs. Deidre.
Why?
We have to do some spots.
Yeah.
Well, what's the matter?
We always have to do spots. We're going to have to drop another set this hour.
Oh, we are? Well, that's fine.
That's all right.
Do I have time to tell them why?
Yes, you have till 51, and that's with dropping one set.
Well, for some reason, Deidre, when we're staying at Fred's Adobe mansion there in the hills in Santa Fe, she goes back in the guest room to get to change into her jammies.
Yeah.
And she takes four-legged Fred with her. I mean, because the dog loves her, and he loves me, and he loves everybody.
How much does he love her?
Well, so he's back there. So she takes her clothes off.
I don't think I like the way this is coming out.
The dog jumps up on the bed and starts spinning around.
Yeah.
And then jumps off the bed and slams its head into the door.
Why not?
And then comes running out there. And then so she was kind of scared, you know.
She's a very beautiful woman.
And then so the dog comes running out down this long hallway into the living room, jumps up on the couch and is spinning around just as fast as he can, and yelping and banging his head into the door.
What in God's name happened in there?
Well, I guess nothing happened.
Well, that's peculiar animal behavior, I would think.
Well, of course, I did this.
Well, four-legged Fred wants the same thing every male wants.
That will be fine.
A good-looking white woman.
That will be fine. My Neanderthal brother in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Give me a kissy. Give Daddy a kissy.
Jesus, God.
Damn, get out of here. You know what? He tried to stick his tongue down my throat.
Fred, do you have a sports report this morning or whatever it is you're supposed to do?
You know, if Testaverde plays like he did last week, Cleveland's in the Super Bowl.
Well, they're in the Super Bowl if they win tickets. It's 11 minutes till the hour in New York.
Imus in the morning.
Hey, I started taking a new vitamin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's the latest thing. It's got antioxidants.
How are you, bro?
The stuff they say may help slow...
Happy New Year.
What's the matter, Bernie?
Couple stations that we're going to drop this other set. They probably know already.
Take MDR Fitness. MDR as in medical
doctors' research, the experts who make the medical discoveries we'll hear about in 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's why Sue and I take MDR vitamins. We don't have to worry about keeping up with the latest nutrition news. They do it.
We're going to have any time between now and 9?
Direct to our home. Beats a multivitamin. Yeah. Comes with a morning and evening formula.
Matter of seconds.
Nutrients for good health and energy.
We have to do 2 stop sets, right?
Free.
That's
For $5,
correct.
you can try their vitamins
Hello?
and get
This
this
is 4
sports
and then
radio
5.
free. Hey, wouldn't you spend $5 to feel like a million? You bet. MDR is not available in
Hey, sweetie.
I'm making a call on 6 here.
My God.
Pardon me? No, I didn't. I don't have any control over it. You do?
You know, my buddies were asking where I've been going
You do?
simulcasting lately, and I
Well, we can't. We don't have time now. We may want to talk to you after the 9 o'clock news about what happened with this dog.
more simulcast races with top horses from the best tracks.
Well, when you took it,
That means I get more shots at picking a winner. Plus, at the Meadowlands, there's not
so I'll call you back.
so I have more betting opportunities and a better chance.
How are you?
Okay, how you doing?
Let's have some coffee, Stephanie.
That inauguration was good.
Huh?
He did a nice state inaugural address there, that Pataki. He really is into the family stuff. Unbelievable.
I was watching a football game.
Yeah, he really, I mean, it was really a really remarkable thing the way that he's such a family man, you know.
I think when Howard Stern has a better seat than Rudy.
You know what it was? It was he's so tall that he like objectificates his head up in the air like that. And you know when Rudy was there, they put him in the 3rd row. Al didn't say it. Al walked in. Al gave him his back as he's walking, and Al kept giving him his back. And Rudy was standing there like he was a lost little kid. Yeah, it was fun.
Well,
how was your wedding, sir?
it was great.
I have a wedding gift tomorrow I have to bring here. A wedding gift for your new apartment. Yeah, truly.
Have a gun or?
No. You have enough of guns. You need any ammunition?
No. Well, what do you think, Charles?
I thought he was fine.
Army? I thought he was terrific.
Yeah. You'll have a minute free here between the 2 sets.
I thought Army was fine, didn't you?
Yes, but he's very good.
Alka-Seltzer Plus is ready to
Oh, he gets it.
My brother's a jerk.
Clearly.
rushing to relieve your running nose.
I was putting a car outside. That's why I came in when you were right.
What is Fred doing? I mean, he's just nuts, isn't he?
He's got his big shot.
So when will I have the minute here?
After this.
After this spot?
The CompUSA is the only computer star I'll ever need. Where'd you hear that? This guy here in the rubber hat told me. CompUSA is
55 we have to be out by.
6 months with no minimum purchase. So get the Packard Bell 90 megahertz medium processor multi-disc. It has a double speed CD-ROM drive, 8 megabytes of
I'll be on the news back then.
So there was just, we went about as far as we could go with that Barney Frank thing.
See, from now on, I'm going to buy all my
What's the
computer
matter?
stuff at CompUSA.
Yes, you did. Everybody understands where that was headed.
Well,
Idiot. Just an idiot.
Price 1795, subject to approval. Not paid in full within 6 months of purchase. Finance charge assessed from purchase date. 21.55% is rate 31.94. 15 cents within finance charge. Bank line call 1-800.
God, stop talking so fast. It's 7 minutes till the hour, and I am Imus in the morning. Well, we went as far as we could go with the.
You went as far as practical. Yes, you did. And Congressman Army understood what was going. He finessed all that very well. I was very impressed.
I like Barney Frank. I mean, what's there not to like?
Absolutely. Come on, he's fine. He's a very able legislator.
Bo Dietl, one of the former hero for the New York City Police Department, now has his own private detective agency, and often appears on that scum Geraldo Rivera's television program. Why do you go on that?
Why didn't you just ask the congressman if he swallowed or not?
No, you know, shut up. Jesus. You know what, Bernard, is there anything you can do with him?
No. Mom, I got an extra clip.
Anyway, it's coming up on 5 minutes till the hour. Thanks, Bo. Jesus, God almighty. Ross Perot and Richard Nixon and maybe some Delbert. And we'll actually talk to Fred Imus in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Great.
He's been on all morning with. And what's happened to Fred? Fred's turned into a combination of you, Bernard, and a combination of you and Bo Dietl.
Hi, Fred.
God.
Imus in the morning.
Maxon Auto Group has triple holiday savings. First, buy any brand new Pontiac, Honda, Hyundai.
But Bernard, are you irritated about something, or?
Not at all.
Well, what's the matter? There's too much to do.
No, it's fine. Everything's going just well, I think.
And get at least $4,000 for it.
Just not enough time. The problem is having to. Well, you know what the problem is? Commercials. That's the problem.
Dump them.
You give it to new property again?
$4,000 for your trade.
You gain weight?
No, I just been
What did he gain weight from?
I think he just looks. I don't think I want to. I think I want to congratulate Bo on how well he looks.
I was in St. Clark there. I was regurgitating.
You look good though.
But a couple of my clients had me over there.
You look like you've been in the sun and stuff, and
that's probably the blood pressure ready to go. We've been actively involved in an investigation of derivatives. If you've got money in the stock market, be careful. This derivative thing is only the tip of the iceberg out there in Orange County. Seriously, if you got money in the stock market, be careful. That thing's going to go down.
Well, I don't have anything like that.
The S&P is going to go down on it because we've been releasing information in the Wall Street Journal and also the Times to show that hundreds of billions of dollars have been lost with these derivatives. See, what happens is they've taken big profits over the years.
Please stop.
This is your financial moment.
Yeah, but come on, baby. This is a warning from the boaster. This is a big. This is
clearance prices on everything from big screen TVs to camcorders, rack systems, computers.
So how many sets do we have in the 9 o'clock hour now?
Idea. Nobody beats the Wiz. Has every department and every
6 sets.
But there's still more. You'll find 0% interest.
So how can we do that?
Go home early.
And there's an extra 10% off open box merchandise. It's winter clearance time. $150 million worth of savings.
You make an exception today and drop one set.
Or find one in any.
Well, here's the thing what I've noticed about these local stations and being around the country and listening to some of them.
Well, it's Angela.
And I don't know what to do about it. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. But there's so much redundancy because I've heard Charles will do, Jane will do we have our news, then we go to sports, then we go to a 4-minute thing, and they do it again. Because they don't have some of them don't have the spots. They're not sold out as we are.
Angela, what's going on?
Folks, we're going to go get a closer look at that beautiful valley down there with all the yellow.
I tell you, the station in Albuquerque does a great job, though. Is that a tape delay thing? Must be, huh?
You can tell our new owner sitting back there with
It's a delay, definitely. It's a satellite transmission. That's what it is.
New York Lotto.
Well, they do a great job. I mean, don't miss anything.
B6.
Of course, you can't hear them unless you're in Albuquerque.
Unless you're on the street outside.
Hey,
get him out of here.
I just wanted to hope to show it that on the Archer derivative thing we get from